And live from the WQAQ studio at Quinnipiac University, you're listening to Infinite Sports Radio on this Tuesday evening. I thank you for joining us. I am Kenneth Gruenfelder along with my energetic co-host, Ben Upson. And we're here on the 30th of March for another installment of this radio program. We got a lot to get to today. We got some March Madness stuff to talk about. We got some NFL stuff when it pertains to the NFL extending their regular season to an extra game. We got some Deshaun Watson stuff to touch upon a little bit with that whole situation. And also, myself and Ben are big baseball fans. We're big Yankee fans. We got opening day coming up this Thursday. So we'll go into our predictions on division winners, World Series matchups, and all that good stuff. Ben, how are you doing today?
Kenny, it's another great day to be alive. And here we are for yet another edition of Infinite Sports Radio, number 8,000-something. What it feels like. No, I'm kidding. Number 10 of the spring semester, I think this is. But glad to be here with you as always. Opening day is right around the corner. We got the Elite Eight going on while we're in the studio. We're going to have the hourly sports update, of course, at 8 o'clock. And let me just say, Upton Unleashed, I'm still trying to figure out what to put together for that because there's like 6 different things I could really go with. I might just do a rapid fire like you brought up to me off air. So stay tuned.
Yeah. You were definitely blowing off some steam right before we came on a couple minutes ago, and it was crazy, to say the least. But so kind of go into some of the March Madness stuff. So we are kind of getting down to the end almost with this tournament. We had 2 Elite Eight matchups last night. First game was between Houston and Oregon State. Oregon State had a nice run, but that kind of fell short last night as Houston took the victory 67-61. And then in the second game last night, we had Baylor and Arkansas. I got to be honest, in the first half, I turned the game off. I think it was 26 I think it got to 29-11 at one point. And I said, I'm turning this game off. But then I flipped it back on, and the game got a little bit closer. Arkansas made a game out of it between them and Baylor, but Baylor was able to pull away with the victory 81-72. And then tonight, we got the final 2 matchups for the Elite Eight. We got Gonzaga against USC, which would be a pretty good game. USC has been pretty good in this tournament. They beat my sleeper pick, Oregon. So let's see what they can do against Gonzaga. And then we got UCLA, another team that has had a nice run in this tournament going up against Michigan. That should be a fun one as well. Unfortunately, I'm going to pick both 1 seeds to win tonight. I think Michigan's looked pretty good. Gonzaga has just looked unstoppable in this tournament. So when it's all said and done, I think it's going to be Gonzaga against Baylor and Houston against Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. So those should be incredible Final Four matchups if it gets to that. I'm pretty sure that's what the matchups are going to be. And then, for me, I think it's going to be Gonzaga versus Michigan in the national championship. But I think Gonzaga is going to win the whole thing. I think a lot of people agree with that. They just look like the best team right now. And listen, I think these next couple of games are going to be really exciting. The tournament's been great overall. There was definitely a lot of memorable upsets. Unfortunately, Oral Roberts in the Sweet 16 did lose to Arkansas by 2, so they got eliminated. Loyola Chicago did lose to Oregon State in the Sweet 16, so they were out as well. But I was kind of nervous about Michigan going up against Florida State, but they took care of their business. And that's kind of the thing going into the tournament. A lot of people were very speculative on Michigan and Baylor. Baylor with their COVID issues, but Baylor's looked really good in this tournament, and Michigan has looked pretty good as well. So I think we're going to see some really good games down the stretch, and we got the Final Four on Saturday, and then we got the national championship on Monday at 9 o'clock. So it should be a really good finish to this fantastic tournament, and we're looking forward to it.
Basket. Uncovered Thompson will inbound. Asmus against Davis. Asmus for the Elite Eight. Arkansas has won. Arkansas is going to the Elite Eight for the first time since 1995.
And that was, of course, the great Kevin Harlan on the call there for Oral Roberts, Arkansas, like Kenny mentioned. And, Kenny, you are not wrong in saying that this has been one heck of a tournament. We missed out on all this, of course, in 2019, or 2020, excuse me. Of course we had.
Yeah, how could you forget? Come on.
Skipping a year, man. Feels like it's been forever.
Yeah, seriously.
But, it's really making up for the one that we lost in 2020. And really some incredible storylines out of this tournament. Especially with the runs of Oral Roberts to the Sweet 16, Oregon State, who ended up falling, unfortunately, in the Elite Eight last night against Houston. We do have UCLA going up against Michigan later tonight, so that's going to be a fun one. I'll be looking forward to that. But really, when we got through these opening, first-round days, I think we were already, we were here last Tuesday breaking down the first round. So it really, set the table for the Sweet 16. Of course, we had Loyola Chicago in it as well after they had upset Illinois back in the round of 32. There were a total of 4 Pac-12 teams as well coming into the Sweet 16. And really a conference that usually gets forgotten in the discussions with the power conferences because you got the Big 10, Big 12, ACC, SEC, and the Big East. I think if that's the one I was forgetting. But the Pac-12 always seems to be the one that doesn't get talked about as much. In some ways, it makes sense because obviously, there's the Pac-12 isn't looked at as a quote-unquote power conference in some ways. But seriously, the 4 teams that ended up getting here, Oregon State, UCLA, Oregon, and USC. Obviously, Oregon, USC, UCLA, and Colorado were the top 4 this season out of the Pac-12. Colorado, of course, lost to Florida State in the round of 32 as well. So they went down. And, of course, as we know, Oregon State ended up beating Colorado in that Pac-12 tournament championship game, which got them this far to begin with. And seriously, we can't talk enough about what Oregon State did. Because they trailed by, I'm pretty sure it was either 15 or 17 points to UCLA in that first round game, or the quarterfinals of the Pac-12 tournament. If they don't win that game, if UCLA gets to the semis, that's the end for Oregon State. We never would have heard of them in the tournament. But instead, they, used the powers of Ethan Thompson and Gerard Lucas. And Zach Reichel, too, was actually contributing pretty nicely for the Beavers. And they marched all the way to the Elite Eight. And they gave Houston a pretty good run last night, I'll tell you that. For what it was worth, Houston's so tough because, they're the number 2 defense in the country. And they stifled their opponents. They held Syracuse, of course, to 46 back in the Sweet 16, which was surprising based off of how well Buddy Boeheim was shooting and all that. But, yeah, Houston did not shoot well in this game last night, I'll tell you. They ended up getting lucky a little bit in the end, but it was Marcus Sasser, Quentin Grimes, and DeJon Jarreau, of course, that trio who's been really efficient for the Cougars all year, helped power them to the Final Four. And this is Houston's first Final Four appearance since 1984. So it's nice to see a little bit of parity and to have the American Conference in the spotlight again. Of course, the most notable memory was when UConn won the championship in 2014, and Wichita State, which was also in the American in 2015, I believe. They had an undefeated season that year, if I remember correctly.
That was the year they lost to Kentucky, right? in the tournament.
That is correct. Yes, that's right.
I watched the highlights of that game. I think like a week or two ago, because I remember. I'm pretty sure that game was on. We were my family and I. We were out to dinner or something, and that game happened to be on. And yeah, that was probably one of the better college games we had across the decade.
Yeah, it was. It was a classic.
Julius Randle was on that team.
Yeah. Yep.
And look what he's doing for the Knicks.
Yeah, man. Those good old days when they had Julius Randle. Alas, though, Kentucky did not get in this year. And Wichita State got knocked out in the first four by Drake after losing by one. But yeah, somehow, though, Houston shot 32% in this game, and their big three still got that many points. I mean, what it ultimately came down to is, I think, too many turnovers for Oregon State, and they definitely didn't strike at the right time either. They got down early. They tried to chip away. They got as close as 5 in the last 5 minutes of the game, but wasn't meant to be. And with a trip to the Final Four on the line, they fell 67-61. And then, of course, we saw Baylor back on Saturday get by Villanova, 62-51. If Colin Gillespie, if he was playing that game for Villanova, there's a chance that they could have won that game. I tell you what, Villanova gave one heck of an effort on defense. It's so hard to contain this Baylor team, and the fact that they held them to 62 points for a team that averages, I'm pretty sure, close to 80 points per game.
Yeah, and they had 80 last night.
Yep, against Arkansas. And, obviously getting by Villanova there. But, yeah, Arkansas by 9, 81-72. The kryptonite for Arkansas was their defense, especially early on. They were getting out hustled by Baylor, weren't getting the balls quick enough. Baylor, at one point in the game, had 21 points off turnovers. And that's really one of the big factors from this game. And it was a problem for Arkansas most of the night. Baylor got out to a 26-11 lead in the early minutes. And Arkansas was able to close that throughout the game. They cut it to 8 at the half, and they were within 4, actually, in the last 10 minutes of the game. That's right. And then Baylor ended up going on what would be a big 8-1 run and really started putting this one out of reach. And it was too little too late for Arkansas. But good run for Eric Musselman's team, I'll tell you that. The SEC, another conference besides the Pac-12 that has really been on display in this tournament. Of course, we saw Alabama fall over the weekend to UCLA. That's why UCLA is even in this position playing Michigan tonight. So we'll see what happens, of course, there. But, Baylor going to the Final Four, where they will have a date with Houston on Saturday night. That is a fantastic matchup. And then, of course, other action from over the weekend, like I said, Florida State, they lost to Michigan 76-58. Gonzaga had no trouble in their last game against Creighton, 83-65. They are just so good. They moved the ball so well. And, when you shoot 60% from the field, you have a big guy like Drew Timme who gives you 22 points and he shoots 10 of 14. And you just add on Corey Kispert's 12. Andrew Nembhard had 17. Joel Ayayi had 13. The Gonzaga offense is a well-oiled machine. And it's going to be tough, for USC to contain them tonight. And speaking of USC, they beat Oregon 82-68, another really dominant win. UCLA, of course, beat Alabama 88-78 in overtime. And that's what set the table for tonight's Elite Eight matchups, which are going to be going on right now, about to tip off on TBS. It's USC and Gonzaga. Gonzaga currently 8.5-point favorite, over-under set at 153. UCLA, Michigan is going to follow that game at about 10 o'clock. Again, both of these games on TBS. Michigan, a 6.5-point favorite. Over-under is 136. I put an article up on my WordPress today, Kenny. I like USC to actually keep it close. I think they will cover that 8.5 tonight. This team's been really hot. beating Kansas by 34 in the round of 32, and really dismantling Oregon. That score looks a little bit closer than what it could have been. I think USC was up by as much as 22 in that game. So they've really been a hot team in this tournament, and they're getting Gonzaga at a good time. I think this could be a little bit of a nail biter if you're a Gonzaga fan. I mean, look, Kansas and Oregon are no Gonzaga, of course not. As I just said, this team is well oiled, and they are primed to get to the national championship game. But they just got to be careful tonight. I'm still rolling with Gonzaga though. 81-74 was my prediction for that. And then, of course, the late game tonight, UCLA-Michigan. Look, I think I doubted Michigan a little bit, honestly. And obviously, they are getting an easier matchup tonight. They're not going to have to play Alabama, who I thought was going to, beat UCLA. If it wasn't for Alex Reese tying that game with that amazing three-point shot.
Yeah, that was a great game. That was one of the best games of the weekend.
Yeah, and
there hasn't been a buzzer beater in this tournament.
That's correct. That's a good point to bring up, Kenny. The only times that we've had game-tying shots were, of course, when, let's see. Oh, yeah, first round, Virginia Tech, Naheem Aline hit that game-tying shot against Florida to force it to overtime when they were down 3. And then, Alex Reese's three-point shot that tied the game against UCLA in the Sweet 16. But
and then UCLA just dismantled them in overtime. Alabama ran out of gas there.
That was bad. That was bad, man. But it's a favorable matchup, though, for UCLA. They've also been playing some good basketball in this tournament. Anything is possible, really, when it comes to this tournament. It's March. Crazy things can happen. But like I said, I wrote off Michigan. If they were playing Alabama tonight, I think Alabama would have won this game personally. So hard to tell, though. So hard to tell. But I'm taking Michigan tonight. I said on, 68-64. That's what I said. So there you go. You heard it here first. And Gonzaga gets the first free throws of the game. And they're about to go up 2-0, it looks like. Just tipped off. So, but yeah, one more thing. Setting the table for the Final Four in the championship over the weekend. The tip times are weird for the Final Four because they got to space everything out. They got to clean the locker rooms in between and stuff because, of course, all these games are at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. And it seems like Indy's hosting the tournament a lot. Most recently, Gordon Hayward's The Shot that didn't go in 2010 against Duke. Who can forget the ending of that championship game? And then in 2015, when Duke, yet again, won the title against Wisconsin. So what will happen in 2021? Who knows, Kenny? But the Final Four, like I said, different tip times. I think 5:14 and 8:34 are the times this year. Of course, those games will be on
I'm looking
CBS.
at it on Google. Right now it says to be determined, but...
Yeah, I think Greg Gumbel said it last night, 5:14 and 8:34, I think. And then, of course, the national championship game. It won't be at 9 o'clock. They advertise it as 9 o'clock, but it usually ends up being about 9:20. Of course. Figures.
Yeah, it's like that with Sunday Night Football. They say 8:20. It starts at 8:30.
Got to get your ads and stuff in.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, Kenny, we'll be looking forward to a good night of basketball ahead, a good Final Four over the weekend too, and the opportunity is out there. Somehow, some way, with all of the craziness that's happened in this tournament, if Michigan and Gonzaga win their respective matchups tonight, we will get 3 of the 4 1 seeds in the Final Four.
Yeah, so
after all the insanity.
Yeah, so, and I had all 4 1 seeds making it to the Final Four outside of Illinois. But yeah, like I said, it should be very exciting. Should be very exciting. I know I said Gonzaga would be going up against Baylor. I got that wrong. So it's Houston against Baylor, and then we'll see what the other matchup will be after these 2 games conclude.
Gonzaga's up 7-0 already.
Yeah. Yep, I have it on right now. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so that game could get out of hand pretty quickly if USC doesn't figure it out. Now, let's kind of, before we get into the football stuff with Deshaun Watson and the NFL extending the regular season to 18 regular season games, there's the women's tournament that had kind of some controversy at the end of that game with the UConn Huskies going up against Baylor. in that tournament and UConn getting the win by 2, but there was no call. There was no foul called on the final play of the game. And there was a lot of controversy over that. Obviously, UConn, when it comes to the women's side, they've been dominant for years. Ben could go into more specifics with that, but they've been really good. They've really been good for years. They're basically like the Patriots, basically, when it comes to women's college basketball. And, LeBron James had stuff to say after the game. Coaches had stuff to say after the game. It's just one of those things where, it was just a missed call. But it's just unfortunate that, in the kind of game, in this big of a game, there always has to be. It's unfortunate that in this kind of game, this big of a game, whether it's a playoff game or whatever, that the refs always have to kind of interfere and taint the sport. Because it just ruins it. I mean, we see it in the NFL all the time. We see a lot of missed calls with that. We see some blown calls in baseball, and stuff like that. But it's just another one of those things where the refs just missed a call, and who knows what would have happened if they actually called it a foul. The game could have went into overtime.
Yeah, Kenny. Look, I'll tell you one thing. I actually, turned on Freddie Coleman last night on ESPN Radio, since he's late night, and he was discussing this, on the final segment of his show. And now, look, both Baylor and UConn have had phenomenal seasons. Baylor, of course, the defending national champions from 2019, when it was Chloe Jackson and Dede Westbrook and Nalissa Smith, all those great players on that team. Baylor was really unstoppable in 2019, and they deserved that title for sure. But, last night, it's hard to believe that this was an Elite Eight matchup because, Baylor, the 2 seed this year, UConn a 1 seed, and they were bound to meet somewhere in the bracket, and they're meeting here in the Elite Eight. And really, last night's game was phenomenal. If you didn't, catch much of it, of course, it was going on during Oregon State and Houston. But I mean, really, those 2 teams last night, UConn and Baylor, both proved to the country on national TV that they're championship caliber teams, really. And that's what Freddie Coleman echoed last night on ESPN Radio when I was listening to his segment. And he said, that when we look back at this game, we shouldn't be taking away, this controversial call. Yes, it was controversial. And yes, it should have been a foul, in my opinion. Because Carrington clearly looked like she got hit in the face and a little bit of contact on the arm, too. It really was a bad miss. But I'll tell you one thing. I did catch most of that game. It was a physical game. The refs were letting a lot of things go. So did it necessarily, surprise me in the end that they let that go? Yes and no. I mean, I feel for Baylor. I really do. It's a painful way to end your season. Because you're down by 1, you could have gone to the line, tied it, maybe even won the game. I mean, UConn probably would have had about a second and a half or 2 seconds, and they would have had to go on full court, which just isn't going to happen, really, in the course of 2 seconds, because you can't advance the ball like you do in the NBA. That's not the rule. You got to go from the baseline on your own side. So, but here's the call from Ryan Ruocco, Rebecca Lobo on ESPN, and take a listen.
Seconds left. Carrington on the drive. Carrington forces it up. No! Rebound UConn! And with 4/10 of a second left, Williams is fouled.
Yeah, it's just so tough, to really pinpoint. It's sometimes when you see a play live, it's hard to tell if it's a foul or not. And I understand that these refs are seeing them at full speed. They got to make it in the heat of the moment. And I understand that they let him play, but even as someone who's been a supporter of both UConn, the women's and men's basketball teams, even as a fan, I still think that was a foul that they missed. It really does look like it. And very unfortunate to see Baylor go like that. But in the meantime, the streak stays alive for UConn. 13 consecutive Final Fours. And they're going to try and break their quote-unquote drought without a title. Because, 5 years to UConn, the women, it feels like 15 years. I mean, Gino Auriemma has done a phenomenal job year after year with this program. 11 titles in 25 years. And they're looking for number 12 in 26 this season. See what happens. But we do know that UConn will face Arizona in the Final Four. We don't know yet what time that tip-off will be. It'll be either 6 o'clock or 8:30. Depends on tonight's games. And South Carolina to start tonight is up pretty big over Texas. And, oh, goodness, looking down at this USC-Gonzaga game.
Yeah, Gonzaga's just running away with it right now.
No, but we have a referee passed out on the court, it looks like, on the baseline there. Oh, no, that's not a good sign. There's a crowd around him. We'll keep you posted on that. And they're bringing a stretcher out. But just to wrap up this Baylor-UConn game talk, I'm going to come back to it in Ups and Unleashed, but Kim Mulkey made some very controversial comments that I think were really out of bounds and shouldn't have been said. Understandably out of frustration, but sad to see Baylor go, but UConn's headed to their 13th straight Final Four. They're going to play Arizona Friday night.
Yeah. And like I said, it's unfortunate that, you have calls like that at like the very end of a big game that could greatly affect the outcome. But it's something, we got to live with as sports fans. So, I don't know if that'll ever get corrected. We keep talking about it. Can teams challenge certain plays and all this stuff? It seems like there's never going to be an end to refs making.
Yeah, and honestly, the NCAA could think about that rule because the NBA, I think it was 2017 or 2018 that they adapted the one challenge rule.
Right.
And if that was an NBA game, that would have been a perfect time to challenge. Absolutely. But, a very, very unfortunate, it's so hard to tell. Like I said, these refs are seeing them in real time just like the rest of us. One angle sometimes doesn't show it well, the other angle does. And, yes, in short, it looks like they missed this call. It did. But they were letting them play a lot of the night. And personally, I like that. I like physical play once in a while. But in a late game situation like that, last seconds, literally, the refs can't make mistakes like that. It's a tough error to live with. And again, we don't know, Kenny, if Baylor would have gone to the line and made one or both those free throws to take the lead.
Free throwing is a lot different in college than it is in the NBA and the pros.
Yes, without a doubt. So we don't know. We don't know what would have happened. But, yeah, I think the NCAA should consider that. Maybe we need a challenge system like the NBA where teams could have a shot to, challenge, get one at the end of the game. I think they should only make that like a final 2-minute rule. There's no way that you should be able to challenge during like the middle of the first half or something. That's ridiculous. But for late game situations,
it's a big moment in the game.
Yeah, for late game situations like that, I think they should consider it. And like I said, ton of frustration for Baylor, and as they should be. The defending national champions are out of the women's tournament. And like I said, we're going to go back to it later on the show in Ups Unleashed. But Kim Mulkey, Baylor head coach, made some very controversial comments after the game that have raised a lot of eyebrows. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But hats off to UConn. We get to see Paige Beckers, the Big East Freshman of the Year, and the Husky squad back in another Final Four.
Yep. So kind of transitioning from college basketball in general, we're waiting to see the status of this official that went down in the Gonzaga game.
That looks scary.
Yeah. So we're hoping, hoping that that situation settles itself out. To kind of go into a much different situation is Deshaun Watson. So Deshaun Watson, obviously, Pro Bowl quarterback, is about 25 years old. With the Houston Texans are a dumpster fire of a franchise. And for the past couple months, Deshaun Watson has wanted out, has demanded for a trade, and is looking for a way to get out. And now, since then, women have come out and have accused the quarterback of sexual assault, sexual misconduct. And now 3 more women have come out. So now he has 19 lawsuits against him. Now, this is a very touchy topic, touchy subject. Because, when stuff like this happens, they always tell you gotta believe the women that come out and say these things. The one problem that I have is just the timing of all this. Deshaun Watson requests for a trade. He wants out of Houston. And then all of a sudden, these women start coming out and claiming that he sexually abused them. Now, I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't believe them. I'm just saying that the timing is strange. And where's the evidence? Because right now, I don't think there has been any evidence going against Deshaun Watson as of right now. Now, if evidence comes out and he's proved innocent, the guy should not be able to play football. But if it comes out that these women are lying and they're trying to ruin his image and ruin his life, the people that put these women up to that should be arrested and put away, because that's just unacceptable. That you're trying to tarnish this guy's character. People look up to this guy. He in college he had those ACL tears, tore his ACL his rookie season, had to do a lot of rehab with those injuries to come back, and this past season had one of his best statistical seasons, if not his best statistical season in the NFL. With the absence of DeAndre Hopkins being traded in the offseason, in that horrible trade. A lot of people like Deshaun Watson. And if this comes out that he did abuse these women, like I said, he should not be in the NFL anymore. But if it comes out that he's innocent and that this was to defame him, the people that, like I said, the people that put them up to this should be put in jail. I think it's as simple as that. But I want to be very clear that, you want to believe. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You want to believe the women because that's what people in our society tell you to do. But if the evidence doesn't come out, then there's something a little fishy about that. But right now we don't know a lot. There's really no evidence that has come out as of right now. I'm pretty sure Deshaun Watson even dismissed these accusations. So, this whole thing is just getting started. This situation is nowhere near It's not even close to being resolved yet. So hopefully it figures itself out and we get to the bottom of this. But right now it's a really ugly situation on both sides. And whatever comes out of it, someone's not going to walk away innocent.
Very well said, Kenny. This is a very gray area to be dealing with. Not just if you're the NFL, but for us media trying to cover and trying to explain what's going on. And, well, let's just say that it's getting a little bit more concerning, at least to me, as the days go on. Now, the article that I was looking at on the show for Sunday from Tom Schad of USA Today, and some of the information I'm going to reference here from his article. So you're right in terms of, you know, the evidence. There really hasn't been any conclusive evidence right now that Deshaun Watson has really done anything wrong with these 16, now I think 19 women.
Yeah, now there's 19 lawsuits that have been filed. Yep.
But yeah, as Schad says, some of the lawsuits mention specific communication between Watson and the women, such as Instagram and text messages, without providing a full or partial transcript of those conversations. Experts say that it's normal in state lawsuits where the plaintiff is only required to notify the other party of general issues and claims in the case. And of course, the 16 lawsuits as of which was, I think, Sunday when this was last updated. It was 16 at the time. And they were all associated with Watson's lawyer, Tony Busby. I'm pretty sure that's his lawyer. Or his attorney, I should say, his attorney. Now, it's a little interesting that was that way. But the more shocking and disturbing news at times, too, was what dropped in Sports Illustrated yesterday. And a massage therapist by the name of Mary, who came out on her own, not associated with Busby, and really revealed some very disturbing and also gross comments about what was going on with Deshaun Watson. Basically, all these lawsuits have to do with sexual harassment and or sexual abuse. And with what's going on right now, and 19 civil suits filed against Deshaun Watson, Sports Illustrated reports that they all allege that the quarterback engaged in some form of sexual misconduct against them during a massage appointment, specifically including exposing himself. So Deshaun Watson, of course, has come out with that. You know, he's never treated any woman with anything other than the utmost respect. And, Tony Busby is not his attorney. That's Rusty Hardin. And his attorney, Rusty, said in a statement last week, too, that I believe any allegation that Deshaun forced a woman to commit a sexual act is completely false. And his statement also included a claim that they have proof of a previous extortion attempt by one of the plaintiffs. So we'll see what happens there. And they're all connected again with Tony Busby, who's the plaintiff's lawyer. So I'll just say, though, Kenny, this is perhaps going to be, and likely, I guess, will be, if it blows up in everyone's face, if these claims are somehow false, which it's hard to tell. We don't know enough information to really determine that. But either way, someone's getting put behind bars for all this. Whether it's the people who could have potentially put these women up to, admitting these, so-called allegations. The people who put them up to it potentially could be getting put behind bars. The Texans organization would get absolutely smeared because of this if it really was linked to them in some sort of way. I certainly hope not. I really don't. Or it's going to just blow right up in Deshaun Watson's face. And this past season could have been the end of him. We don't know. There's way too much to sort out right now. Obviously, you and I both, of course, would hope that, Deshaun Watson does not have to face any repercussions because of this. This is terrible that, these cases are coming out. And obviously we hope that for his sake, these are false. At least I would certainly hope so. But if the women are really speaking the truth on this matter, then it's really horrifying. And I can say definitely that I am against no matter how big or small the personality may be. I condemn any sort of sexual harassment, abuse. It's really disgusting and horrifying that things like this can happen. And not just with Deshaun Watson. We've seen it before. So many other examples in society these days. But as I said, though, Kenny, this is a very gray situation. It's very difficult to really report anything new because there is so much to get figured out. This is going to take months to sort out, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I
think so.
Yeah, this will be a very lengthy case. But for now, 19 civil lawsuits against Deshaun Watson, all about sexual misconduct between the quarterback and these massage therapists. So we will try our best to keep you updated with the latest information. But let's hope that, nothing, really happens here to Deshaun Watson because I definitely look up to him as a role model and one of the strong younger faces in the NFL.
Yeah, definitely. And, especially because, a lot of people have been praying for him to get traded to a team that's competent, unlike the Houston Texans and the moves that they have made, especially with trading DeAndre Hopkins and trading him for a running back in David Johnson, who's dealt with injuries over the past couple of seasons and has kind of declined significantly. And now with J.J. Watt departing for the Cardinals, so there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on in Houston, and it's not a good situation. So, kind of moving on to more NFL stuff. So the NFL has now announced that they will be extending the regular season to 17 games this season. So now there'll be 18 weeks in the NFL season. Every team will still have a bye week. And also Roger Goodell came out and said that he anticipates that teams will have full capacity in their stadiums come September. And some players have come out and said that they aren't in favor of this. Alvin Kamara is one of those players that came out and said they're not a fan of it. And also the Super Bowl is now getting pushed back a week, so now instead of it being February 6th, it'll now be February 13th. As a fan, I'm really excited about this, to get another extra week of football. But I can understand from a player's standpoint why they're not happy. And this is something that's definitely been talked about the last couple of years for the NFL extending the season to extending the regular season. But, I said, I'm a fan. I like this move. And some of the matchups that we will see. So typically a division like, the NFC, like let's say the NFC North will play every other division in the AFC every 4 years. So they'll play the opposing conferences divisions every 4 years. So now what it seems what they're doing is you'll be playing the opposite, so the Green Bay Packers are playing the Kansas City Chiefs. So they both finished in the first in their divisions. They'll be playing each other next year, which is a game I'm really excited for, to see Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers going up against each other in the regular season. I was hoping for that to be the Super Bowl matchup, but of course that doesn't happen. And a couple of other games. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Seattle Seahawks. We got the Saints taking on the Titans. I know the Giants will be playing against the Dolphins. The Patriots will be playing the Cowboys. The Bucs will be playing the Colts. So a lot of good matchups to look forward to when the schedule comes out in May. But like I said, I'm really excited about it. It adds another week to our fantasy football seasons as well. But again, from a player's standpoint, I can understand why they aren't too happy about it. The preseason is now going to be reduced to 3 games. So I guess that's good because, we don't have to deal with the preseason, even though we didn't have to deal with it last season. But I think the preseason, judging by what happened this past year, I think the preseason is definitely necessary for the NFL, and they have to continue to do it. As much as fans don't like it, they definitely need to continue with the preseason. But it's another thing. It's another cash grab, though. The NFL definitely did this to make more money. And even with Roger Goodell saying that he anticipates that we're going to have full capacity stadiums in all stadiums going into the fall, the NFL is just ready to get back the money that they lost due to the pandemic.
Yeah, Kenny, this is all for money. It really is. We can't deny that because all an extra week does is just bring in an extra probably tens of millions of dollars for the NFL. And this is definitely an organizational move. I don't think, as we've seen, some of the players have come out in protest of this. And I understand why, it's another week. And football in general just takes a massive physical, mental toll on your bodies throughout the year. But yeah, for us fans, definitely it's great to have an extra week of football. I'm all ears for a 17-game season, and now that it's here, and I like what the NFL is doing in terms of having interdivisional matchups. So you're going to have, the NFC East going up against the AFC East. The NFC West is taking on the AFC North.
Yeah.
And, so you have matchups like that. And I think it's pretty cool that they've designed the schedule like that because it'll make for a better, end to the season like that. And, yeah, of course, we heard, too, that the Giants are going to end up playing the Dolphins. And so that'll be the Week 18 matchup. Yeah, that's so weird to say that, Week 18.
So wait, are these the matchups that are going to be played in Week 18, or are they just extra games that they're adding to the schedule?
That's a great question, actually.
Because I don't think it says that. I think it's just they're adding an extra game, but I don't think that necessarily is going to be the last game of the season for the NFL. I think it's just an extra game that they have added. I don't think it's going to be necessarily the game. I don't necessarily think those are going to be the matchups that are going to be played at the end of the season.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right about that. I think it might just be the matchups. Oh. Yeah, because John Breach of CBS Sports, the Pick Six podcast, tweeted out all the matchups. And he says that these are the bonus 17th games. So you're right. It doesn't necessarily sound like these are going to be the Week 18 matchups.
Yeah, because I don't think they want to have the Chiefs and the Packers play on the last week of the season. That's definitely going to be either a 4:25 game or a Sunday Night Football game.
Yeah, there's no way that I can't.
Which was a Sunday Night Football game last year, but we got to see Matt Moore going up against Aaron Rodgers.
So basically,
instead.
What this means is that they're probably just going to sprinkle these matchups in throughout the year.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to continue what they normally do and have you play a divisional opponent the last week of the regular season.
Yeah. So really, I mean, I like what the NFL did with that structure. It's nice to have some interdivisional matchups. Of course, we will be, knock on wood, basically almost 100% back to normal this fall.
You would think.
In terms of the NFL, there might There probably still will be, I guess, some forms of COVID testing policies in place.
Well, they're talking about the vaccine passports and stuff.
Yes, that's right. That too. And yeah, players, we see it now. They are getting the vaccines and stuff, which, I guess is much better for the leagues and such. It'll make for less stoppages and things.
Yeah,
but by the time we hit NFL season, it's going to be much better than where things stand right now. That's for sure.
It should be.
Yes,
it
should
be.
And Roger Goodell, I think, his opinion about full stadiums, I think it's absolutely possible, especially in some of the areas of the country that aren't really doing so bad right now. But I think in some of the bigger cities, maybe New York, L.A., well, I shouldn't say New York because the Giants and the Jets don't play there, but New Jersey.
Well, you got the Bills in New York.
Well, that is true. That's true. Some of those bigger cities that have, had a lot of cases, partially due to population and increases and such. But
yeah,
in those areas, maybe not quite full capacity to start, but we're going to get there, Kenny. It's going to happen. And,
I really, really hope so.
I like the optimism by Roger Goodell. I really do, because I think NFL fans would want to hear that right now. I mean, we're all...
Well, maybe not the general population. They'll call that reckless.
Yes, that's
irresponsible.
True. That's true, but among NFL fan bases, people will be really happy to get out to games.
Oh, yeah,
again next
definitely.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, the matchups are definitely going to be very good. Like I said, there's a lot of them that are very enticing going into the season. Like I said, the number one game that I'm really excited for is Chiefs-Packers, and
that's an excellent matchup.
Hopefully both quarterbacks are playing in that game, because we were robbed of that when Patrick Mahomes suffered that injury against the Broncos and missed a couple games, and that was one of the games that he missed. So we'll get to see those two guys go against each other, Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. Now, also, our New York Giants were in the news. They added nose tackle Danny Shelton to a one-year deal. This is just kind of more of a signing for depth, and I like the signing. He's going to be the replacement for Dalvin Tomlinson, but I love what the Giants are doing, and like I said, I think this team is going to. I think this team's going to win the division next year. I really do. And also, they made it official. They signed Kyle Rudolph to that 2-year contract. There was some concern with that because of he was supposedly going to have foot surgery, but that's he's cleared now. He's going to be a Giant, and he's going to help this team out a lot next year. And like we've talked about, now it's the time for Daniel Jones to prove himself. Now that he has also has all the requisite weapons at his disposal, now we're going to see what he is made of, and I could not be more excited for the Giants. I anticipate they're going to have a really good season. It was crazy though, because I saw somebody was doing predictions for next year. They had the Giants going 12-4. I don't know about that.
No.
I think this team could definitely win 10 games next year.
10-7. Now we can say it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. 10-7
game record.
I got to get used to that.
I know, that's gonna be so weird.
10-7.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right. And
No,
actually, this is the first time too that the league has shifted its schedule since 1978.
Yeah.
The longest period of time when the league hasn't made a schedule change. That's interesting. And one other thing.
43 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, with the 17-game schedule now, Kenny, I'm sure you already heard about this too, but now the NFL is requiring every team to play at least one international game over the next 8 years.
I think I did see that.
Germany could be getting a game as soon as 2022. So, so London.
Yeah.
What cities in Germany? Let's say London, Frankfurt, and Mexico City, maybe? Three cities?
I'm guessing. I mean, hopefully they actually put good games out there, and we don't have the Jaguars and the Eagles playing each other like we did a couple years ago.
Lord.
That's what I don't understand. Like, if the NFL wants to market their game in other countries,
put high-quality teams out.
Put marquee matchups out there. I mean, I don't know if they want to necessarily do that because of, I guess the time zones and whatever. But, wouldn't people want to see good quality matchups instead of seeing terrible teams going at it? It's ridiculous, some of the matchups that we've had to see in London. I think the Bengals and the Redskins, the Washington football team now, they played each other a couple years ago, and I think they tied. So, come on. Let's have some good matchups in London, please. Or in the overseas games, wherever they're played. Just give the fans, give the people of this world some good quality matchups.
The London people get amped for these games too.
Oh, they do.
Wembley
absolutely.
Stadium is packed every single year. The fans love it. You see Jaguars jerseys, Steelers, Giants, Patriots.
You see jerseys.
You
see jerseys of every kind.
Crazy.
Yeah, so they love it. Obviously, the baseball did the London series a couple years ago when they had the Yankees and the Red Sox go out there. That's what you're supposed to do. Have the two marquee teams going at it, and give us a good game, because you really think fans got that excited? I mean, they did. I mean, seeing Blake Bortles going out there and going up against, I don't know, Joe Flacco, because I know the Ravens and Jags, they played a couple years ago.
Who was excited for that?
Yeah, Joe Flacco now is the backup of the Eagles. 12-year veteran. What does he have left to prove? So yeah. So it's nice though. It's nice to look. I'm excited for football. That's the bottom line. I'm really excited for the schedule, and then also we got the draft, which is going to be coming up very soon in a couple weeks. If I'm not mistaken. I believe it's the end of April, mid-April, something like that.
April 29th.
Okay, so the
draft.
end of April. End of April, yeah.
Yes.
And then the schedule will come out, I guess, shortly after that.
The guesstimates for that, I was actually looking into that today since they added the extra game. I'm like, oh, well, it's April, right? The schedule comes out soon. So it sounds like we might get it either Thursday, April 15th, or the 22nd, the week before the draft.
Oh, okay.
That's what it sounds like.
Because doesn't it usually come out in May, though? I always thought it was.
Well, last year it did because they had to take some extra time to figure out.
Okay. Yeah, with COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. We've been dealing with this thing for a year.
Yeah.
Over a year.
Yeah, because certain people have to do certain things, It's whatever. Hopefully, we're behind this thing when we come back in the fall, because everybody's getting very impatient. But some people, they want to keep doing this forever. It seems like they really don't care how long this goes. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. So we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about Major League Baseball. Opening day is right around the corner. We'll give you our predictions for the divisions, what we think is going to be the World Series matchup and World Series winner, maybe a couple other stuff with who's going to win MVP. So that'll be the hour number 2 of the radio program. So before we take a break, give it over to Mr. Ben Upson, my co-host. He'll give you the Sports Minute. And also, actually, when we do come back from the break, before we get into our Major League Baseball predictions, we'll do another edition of Upson Unleashed, because he's got a lot of stuff to talk about.
This could be a rapid-fire one tonight, too.
So I'm going to give it over to my co-host to give you your Sports Minute.
All right. It is just about top of the hour, 8 o'clock. A little bit short of that. Let's go through what's going on in the world of sports. Of course, as Kenny and I were talking about March Madness, the Elite Eight. So much for that USC 8.5 prediction that I made earlier. This team was really hot coming into this game, and they're off to a 9 of 24 shooting start. So every pick I touch, folks, it really doesn't work out. Drew Timme and Jalen Suggs with 13 and 11, respectively. Gonzaga's up 39-23 at the 3:38 mark of the first half. You can catch that on TBS. And, of course, later tonight at 10 o'clock, UCLA taking on Michigan. In the National Hockey League, the Devils have the Bruins number. They're up again 2-1 at the end of the first period. Capitals up 2-1 on the Rangers. Through 1, Blue Jackets, Lightning, no score. End of 1, Panthers putting a burden on the Red Wings early, 3-0 through 1. Canadians as well coming back from a COVID pause. They're up 3-0 at the end of the first. Hurricanes and the Blackhawks, no score. That game is on NBCSN. And Stars Predators, the final game of the night, coming up in just a few minutes at 8 o'clock. And in the NBA, a light slate tonight. Hornets leading the Wizards 61-53. They're nearing halftime. Gordon Hayward, 18 points for the Charlotte Hornets. 76ers Nuggets, an NBA TV game tonight at 9 o'clock. Magic and the Clippers. Who do the Magic have left? Seriously, nobody after what happened to them at the trade deadline. Clippers big favorites tonight. That game's at 10 o'clock, followed by Hawks, Suns as well. And as Kenny mentioned, MLB opening day will be on Thursday. But the last spring training game of Major League Baseball will be Angels-Dodgers tonight at 10 o'clock. Lots to get to in hour number 2 of Infinite Sports Radio. That was your top of the hour Sports Minute. We'll be back after this.
All right, and we are back here on Infinite Sports Radio. So right before we go into our MLB discussion, we'll maybe do some over-unders and predict who's going to finish in first place in their respective standings in both the American League and the National League, and who's going to win the World Series, get to the World Series. We're going to do our another edition of Upson Unleashed. Right before that, it might be a rapid fire. I don't know what it's going to be because there are a lot of things that got him enraged before we got on the show to start the show tonight. So right before we go into our MLB discussion, Mr. Upson, take it away one more time.
Did I mention I'm angry?
Oh, no. I forgot I took the cord out. Jeez.
What is this? What is this?
See, this is the problem when
Wait, so what is it?
I get too ready for the segment.
So now what is that? Back-to-back weeks now? We mess up with the mini plug?
Okay, yes, it is. All right.
All right, well, at least it was...
We are here. We're here. We're done.
All right, you got it?
All right. We ready? Here we go. Here we go. This is what I was looking for.
Did I mention I'm angry?
Seething with rage.
The wife's gone for good.
Yes, it is time for a very what's going to be a very fun-filled rapid-fire Ups Unleashed indeed. Oh yeah, there's quite a few things on the mind today, and what else can we start off with? But got to look at that UConn Baylor game last night. All right, look, obviously, like Kenny and I talked about earlier on the show. That very controversial call at the end of the game with, that no-call foul, what looked to be a foul on Baylor there, on Carrington driving to the hoop. Doesn't matter, though. UConn wins 69-67, advances to their 13th straight Final Four. I'm sorry. You really got to make that call. It's a joke. I mean, I understand that you're letting that game, it's a physical one. For sure. And you just can't let a call like that go at the end of the game. I'm sorry. And really. But that wasn't even really the most concerning part of the whole thing. No. Kim Mulkey had some very, let's just say, controversial comments after the game. And it was about, COVID testing. Because here we are in a time of the pandemic, and we gotta, make sure these players stay negative in order to keep playing the games. But no, Kim Mulkey after the game threw all that out the window by saying this. I want to say this to all of you. This is in quotes. Spencer Nussbaum on Twitter. That's who I'm getting it from, a reporter for the Big 12. She says, quote, I want to say this to all of you. I don't think my words matter, but after the games today, tomorrow, there's 4 teams left. I think on the men's side and the women's side, they need to dump the COVID testing. Wouldn't it be a shame to keep COVID testing and then you got kids that end up testing positive or something, and they don't get to play in the Final Four, so you just need to forget the COVID tests and let the 4 teams that are playing in each Final Four go battle it out. What? What is Kim Mulkey trying to say here? Does she really expect that we're going to be able to, get this off without a hitch the rest of the way if we just say, you know what, we've done enough. The pandemic's okay. We're fine, right? Okay, great. I understand that you're playing in San Antonio for the Final Four, where Texas doesn't have a mask mandate, and they really don't seem to care too much about the virus. Okay, sure, it might be more under control down there, but that's ridiculous, Kim Mulkey, that you say, and I understand it's out of frustration, okay? Who the heck would be happy of getting cheated out, like that, in terms of, having to lose a game like that? It's out of frustration. It really makes a lot of sense, okay? But still, that's so out of bounds, off limits, never should have even been said. So Kim Mulkey really struck out on that one. That's not good. And there wasn't even a question that prompted it either. So just out of the blue, you're going to say dump COVID testing? Yeah, give me a break there. Number 2, I know, we got to go a little quicker here. The Brooklyn Nets signed LaMarcus Aldridge over the weekend. Stephen A. Smith has some thoughts to share on that before I jump in.
So what's next? I mean, we going to get the ball boy next? We going to get Andre Drummond next? I mean, we going to get, I know you can't get Lonzo Ball or Kyle Lowry or whatever, but damn, what's going to be next if you're the Brooklyn Nets? I mean, this is almost like buying a championship, for crying out loud. Blake Griffin comes. LaMarcus Aldridge has now decided to go. We don't even know if they're going to go after Andre Drummond next. I mean, you want a championship. I got all of that. You should be the favorites. KD, James Harden, Kyrie, Lethal Weapon 3. But damn. I mean, what about competition? What about competition? You just going to get everybody now? Everybody? I mean, I'm looking forward to the playoffs. I want competition. But if we just going to stockpile and get everybody running to Brooklyn to try to steal a championship, I mean, come on. KD, Kyrie, James Harden, that's cool. I get all of that. Blake Griffin could have gone someplace else. LaMarcus Aldridge, you of all people? After all the years you spent in Portland and San Antonio, that's what we doing now? I'll talk to y'all Monday on First Take in Stephen A's world. But damn, that's just my initial reaction. Damn. I like competition. I don't want everybody on the same team.
Thank you, Stephen A. Smith. Wonderful. I mean, really, the Brooklyn Nets are trying to put together one of the biggest super teams that the NBA has ever seen. Oh, so it's not enough that you got Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant on the team. Okay, we got to go out and get LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, they're trying to buy a championship is right. Are you kidding me? Can we just hand the title to them? Everybody should literally punch their tickets right now. And now with Andre Drummond going to the Lakers. Can we just say that it's going to be Lakers-Nets in the final already? Please. Give me a break. This is an absolute joke that the NBA is like. This is what ruins the NBA culture. When you get too many stars on one team, it really tarnishes the integrity of the league. It's disgusting. It's a joke. It shouldn't be allowed to happen. Obviously, Brooklyn fans, you should be enthusiastic. Your team is really going to win a title unless something goes horrifically wrong. I mean, we haven't seen these three play together a lot, okay? I can't count how many games Kyrie, KD, and Harden have played in. 8? Maybe? I don't even think they played that many games together. So we got to see how it all works out. But this is a joke. The NBA, when Kevin Durant went to Golden State, there was all this uproar, too, about, oh, here we go. You know, the league is ruined. And what did the Warriors do? They ended up winning 3 titles over the course of 4 years. And now the Brooklyn Nets have their own super team in Brooklyn. Really? I mean, this is a joke. We might as well just give it to what are you signaling to me, Kenny? What are you signaling?
2 titles in 3 years.
Oh my gosh! Wait, am I right? Oh wow. Yeah. My bad. Yeah,
it's okay. It's all right. It happens.
Wait. You sure it wasn't 3 and 4 though? 15,
no.
17, 18?
Wait. Who you talking? You're talking about KD, right?
I was talking about the Warriors franchise as a whole.
Oh, I thought you meant KD
no.
with the Warriors.
So there's the problem. See, I know. We were thinking about,
okay.
Yeah, we were thinking about KD's. Yeah, you're right. He's gotten 2 titles.
Okay,
in 2 years. The Warriors franchise as a whole, 3 and 4 years.
Okay.
There we go. That makes sense now. That makes sense. Glad we could clarify that. So it's really ridiculous. We might as well just hand the Nets the title already. A couple of quick other things. What's Joe Biden's dog doing in the news? Really, the dog bit somebody else at the White House. Really, that's what's making headlines on a Tuesday afternoon for the show? Come on. If that was Trump's dog, people would be calling for him to get his rabies shots. I mean, give me a break. That's what we walk into the studio, Kenny, on a Tuesday afternoon. And let's see, one other thing. The Quinnipiac Registrar's Office. Oh, boy. Had one whale of a time with them. So, look, you know what? It's the end of March. It's scholarship season. Trying to get, a little bit of extra funding to afford a college education, which is tough for us teenagers, all right? Kenny and I both can vouch for that. But
I'm 21. I'm 21 now.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Wait, aren't you 20? You're
not 21 yet. Not till July.
Yeah, we're not teenagers anymore.
That's true. That's true.
You should say as young college students.
You're right. I probably should.
We're not teenagers anymore.
I know. I'm so used to saying teenager, but
I mean, I still feel like I'm a teenager. So,
but the whole point, I reached out to the registrar via email. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll just shoot them an email, see if they can send a hard copy of my transcript to this address for the scholarship. Okay, I get an email back an hour later that says, go to our website, read the directions, which I already read. What, you think I didn't do that first? Come on, man. And then you decide, I got to call the office, see what's going to happen now. And I've called that registrar's office multiple times throughout the year, every single time. You're getting ring after ring after ring. Nobody's answering. What's going on? We go to this university, and everyone's just leaving us hanging? Oh, I see how it is. Okay. So, in the end, had to, order an electronic copy, send it to my sister on text, and now she's printing it out, and they're going to send it up from my hometown in Lakeville. So, you can never win with this university. You really can't. So, just had to throw that in there. Sorry for the extended rants tonight. Some of them good, some of them bad, but in the end, Kim Mulkey thinks that COVID isn't real. The Nets are basically winning the title now. Joe Biden's dog apparently is in the headlines. And, the Quinnipiac Registrar's Office was not really helpful. So there's your 4 big points on Ups and Unleashed today.
If we go professional with this, we're not going to be coming up with these headlines that aren't newsworthy like that, like with the dogs.
I mean, but seriously, what is the whole point of? I understand.
I agree with you.
I understand that yes, somebody did get bit. Hopefully, they're okay.
Yeah.
But just the fact that we need to hear about it, it's a dog,
I know it's a
man.
major headline.
This is the stuff that makes news. And I thought a month ago when ABC 7 New York put on their Instagram that the laughing emoji wasn't popular anymore. What's that headline? That's not a headline. That's just a step. Come on. Get out of here with that.
It's just a slow news day.
Get out of here with that.
It's just a slow news day. But that's what you gotta notice these kinds of things because now that a certain guy isn't around anymore, the headlines are a lot.
It's much quieter.
Quieter. They're softer. They ask. They don't ask tough questions anymore, like they're supposed to, and the people avoid the tough questions and just kind of deflect it to something else.
So. Yeah. Again,
but it's stupid.
There's my rants. I went absolutely insane there. So
yeah. No, but that's why it's called Ups and Unleashed, and I really enjoy the segment. Hopefully, from here on out. We got something for you every week. So far, so good. So let's see what you'll rant about next week. But, let's kind of move on from that. That was a great segment. And kind of talk about the MLB season that will be kicking off on Thursday. Yeah, so that was our intro. But yeah, that's the Yankees radio music that you always get to listen to when you're listening to the post game in the car on your way home, whenever you're driving, whatever, listening to it on the radio, whatever. Yeah. So let's talk about what we think is going to happen in this MLB season. So I'm looking at some of these over-unders on CBS. Right now, you got the top 5 teams. You got the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Padres, the Braves, the White Sox, and the Mets. So right now, they got the Dodgers at 103.5. I'm going to take the under with this. I just think that's a big number. And the Dodgers are a really good team, and I definitely think that they're going to win about 100 games this season. That's definitely a big number. Now, the Yankees, they're at 97. I think they're also going to hit under because what I want to go into is the injuries. I'm going to rant a little bit. The Yankees, the injuries have started. So Luke Voit, who led the league in home runs last season, is now going to miss some time after he underwent knee surgery to fix, I think it was a partially torn meniscus. So he's going to miss some time. So with that, Jay Bruce has made the 26-man roster. And
please continue.
Yeah, so it's just pathetic. Every year as a Yankee fan, this is what we dread every single season. We with Aaron Judge and Stanton and Sanchez always getting hurt. Now we got Luke Voit, who's one of our bigger bats as well. He's going to miss some time, but this is what I'll say. That's the positive, and it's unfortunate that this is a positive. With Luke Voit getting hurt and Jay Bruce being the starting first baseman, guess what this adds to the Yankee lineup, Mr. Upson? It adds balance.
Yes,
balance to the lineup because Jay Bruce is a left-handed hitter, which is something that the Yankees do not really have on this team outside of Aaron Hicks and Brett Gardner. So, Jay Bruce is now providing us with a little bit more balance, which is something that is absent from this Yankees lineup, and it is unfortunate that it has to come at the expense of an injury to Luke Voit, who's one of our best hitters. But, you know what else? Luke Voit, let's not forget, Ben, the day before Game 5, what did this man say?
We're going to win Game 5, Kenny. That's
and what
he
happened?
Said. They did not win Game 5 because of a man named Mike Brasso.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chapman. You stink. You stink, man.
Yeah, and once again, Chapman, looking on with that smile on his face, that smug grin, giving up another home run to send us home just like he did the previous season against the Astros when Jose Altuve, as my co-host said, Altuve felt something pretty good when he hit Aroldis Chapman deep. He didn't want to take off his jersey because he had a tattoo that he was feeling embarrassing about, with his wife. His wife would be embarrassed to see it or whatever he said. I don't remember. So it's just the injuries, man. When are they going to stop? When are they going to stop? And it's going to continue. It's going to continue. It's going to happen to somebody else. It's just very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating when you have to deal with this every year. You have these expectations, and once again, you're getting injured. It's terrible.
Time after time, Kenny.
Yeah,
we're already on the injury train.
Yeah, so
hooray.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So now they got the 93.5 over-under for the Padres. I'm going to say the Padres get the over. They're going to win more games than that. Because you know what? They had some great acquisitions with pitching. They added Blake Snell. They added Yu Darvish to their rotation. They paid Fernando Tatis. The lineup's going to be really good with Tatis, Hosmer, Machado. The lineup's going to be really good. Tommy Pham, they got a really good lineup. So I think they're going to hit the over. They have on CBS, they have the Braves at 91.5. I think they're going to get the over on that. I think they might be taking a little bit of a step back. They choked that NLCS 3-1 lead against the Dodgers last season. I can see why. A team might jump over them in the standings, which is the team that plays in Queens in New York. But I think they get the over. The White Sox are only at 90.5. I think they're going to hit the over as well. They got a really good young team with Tim Anderson and Jose Abreu. They got a good team, and they got a good rotation. Giolito is turning into that number one pitcher that they got from the Nationals. So, yeah. And then with the Mets are at 90. So this will be the last over-under that I do. The Mets are at 90. I'm going to be risky here. Going to say they get the over. I think this is the year that the Mets finally break through and do what they're supposed to. They look good on paper. They got the new owner. They got Steve Cohen money. They're bringing back the black jerseys. I think the Mets will hit the over. So now let's go into more specifics. Who do I think is going to win each division? So kind of to get the easy one out of the way, I got the Yankees winning the East. Now, I think it's going to be tough because I think the Blue Jays are going to be the team that's going to give them a hard time throughout the season. They added George Springer in the offseason. They added Marcus Semien. Their lineup is really good with the young core that they have with Bo Bichette, Kevin Biggio, and Vlad Guerrero Jr. But I think that the Yankees, as long as they stay healthy, are the team to beat in this division. I think the Rays have taken a step back. Trading Blake Snell, the Rays did bring back Chris Archer. The Rays are definitely still going to be a team that's going to be pesky, but I think the Yankees win this division. And yes, they will be the AL East champions once again. And let's not forget, we can't help but worry about the Baltimore Orioles with Ryan Mountcastle and Cedric Mullins and DJ Stewart. Got to worry about those guys too. So, the Orioles give them a run for their money as well. I am completely kidding. I am being sarcastic with that. So, kind of going to the Central. I think the White Sox are going to win this division. I think it's going to come down between them and the Twins. The White Sox, like I said, they have a very good young core. They got a solid number one starter. And I think the Twins are maybe going to take a little bit of a step back. They don't really have the pitching that they should have. They lost Odorizzi. Nelson Cruz. I mean, how much longer are you going to rely on this guy? I mean, he's still producing at this advanced age, which is incredible. But I think the White Sox, I think this is the year the White Sox break through and win the division there. So now the West is kind of interesting. It's tough. It's tough with the West. But I think I'm going to go with the Astros to win the division. They lost Springer, which is going to be tough, but they still got Bregman. They still got Altuve. They still got Correa. They still got Gurriel. They kept Brantley. The one question mark is the rotation, because Greinke's older now. We don't know what the status is with Verlander. But that lineup could still hit. And until somebody could beat that team and overtake them in the division, I think the Astros win that division. So now let's go to the National League. The Dodgers are going to win the West. I mean, now they're getting David Price in that rotation to go on with Buehler and Kershaw. And also Trevor Bauer. They signed in the offseason, so they got him in there as well. And then they got Dustin May as well. That rotation is insane. I got them winning the West. And obviously they retained Justin Turner. So really they're only going to get better. They're better than they were last year now with the addition of Bauer. The Central is now kind of interesting. I think it's going to come down between the Cardinals and I guess the Brewers. And I think I kind of give the edge to the Cardinals only because now you add Arenado to go along with Goldschmidt and the guys that you have on that team. I think the Cardinals have better pitching than the Brewers do. The Brewers do have a good lineup, obviously, with Yelich, but I think the Cardinals edge out the Brewers in the division. And then in the East, all right, in the National League East, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the New York Mets to win the National League East. They're trying to lock up Francisco Lindor. Apparently, they offered him like a 10-year, $300 million contract.
And he said that wasn't enough. He's looking for 12 years, $400 million.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of money that these players make is crazy. In class today, we were looking at the top 10 athletes, top 10 paid athletes or whatever on the Forbes top 100s list. I mean, some of the guys that were in the top 10 should not have been in the top 10. Kirk Cousins was there. Carson Wentz was number 10. I mean, come on. There's too much money involved in sports, but that's what's going to happen. So I got the Mets winning the division. Hopefully they get Syndergaard back. You know, they have DeGrom. They have Stroman. Add Lindor to that lineup with Alonso and McNeil. You know, they bring in James McCann. So hopefully that upgrades the catcher spot. Jacob deGrom is probably one of the best pitchers, if not the best pitcher in baseball. Best pitcher in New York. Sorry, Yankee fans. Unfortunately, you have to kind of give it to deGrom. I think this is the Mets' year. Now, the one concern is the bullpen. And for God's sakes, give Jacob deGrom some run support, please. You know, Yoenis Cespedes is not going to be there to hit a solo home run late in the game to help you guys win 1-0. All right, I don't think he's coming back. Give this guy some run support for once, please. Please. Because I got a fantasy draft tomorrow at 9 a.m. Yes, at 9 a.m. And if he's at number 7, might have to take him. So please give Jacob deGrom some run support. Give him the respect that he deserves. Thank you.
Very well said.
Thank you.
Very well said.
That clapping scared me. Jesus. God. I mean, I'm a Yankee fan and I'm getting aggravated over this. And then for the Yankees, for God's sakes, please do good this year. Please make it to the World Series.
Just get there. Gosh.
Okay, so now I mean, I don't even know who to pick for MVP. I know he said we're going to go over MVPs. I don't know who to pick. I mean, you could say Mike Trout. You could say Fernando Tatis in the National League. You know what? I don't know. You know what? No, I'm not going to do it. I was going to say I'm going to pick Judge to win MVP in the American League. I don't know. I don't know about that. You know what? This is what I'm going to do. I really don't know who to pick for MVP. It's tough. I'm going to say over now that it's going to be 162 games, okay? I'm going to predict that Mr. Mike Trout is going to get his second MVP. Another MVP. I believe that would be his second. You know, because all those years, let's remember, Miguel Cabrera was winning MVPs and Mike Trout was always finishing in second. Mike Trout finally won his first MVP. I'm going to say he gets another one in the American League. The National League. In the National League, I mean, it's tough. Again, it's tough. I am going to say that in the National League, you know what? I'm going to do it because I said it after the World Series in 2019. He'd have a breakout year. I'm going to say it. This is going to be a interesting one. I'm going to pick Juan Soto to win the National League MVP. Now, you know, there's going to be no pause. There's going to be no nothing. This is going to be 162 games. I said it after the World Series. I said he was going to break out in 2020, and I'm pretty sure that was before COVID and everything. I'm going to say that Juan Soto will win the National League MVP. So I have Mike Trout and Juan Soto winning MVPs in their respective leagues. Now, who do I have going to the World Series? I think the Dodgers are going to make it again. In the American League, I mean, the Yankees. The Yankees are going to go to the World Series this year. I think this is their best chance. The American League is pretty weak this year. The White Sox are saying that they're the best team in the American League, and they could be. They could beat the Yankees and shut me up. But I am going to pick the New York Yankees to get to the World Series again, and I'm going to pick them to win the World Series in 7 games against those Dodgers in 7 games in the World Series and get that 28th championship. Because this has to be the year. This has to be the year that they do it. They got a pretty good rotation. They got Luis Severino coming back. So really right now the rotation is Cole, Kluber, Tyone, Montgomery, and Herman. Obviously Herman was involved in the domestic violence incident with his girlfriend. And, you know, there's going to be some drama that still circulates throughout the season. So who knows if he's still going to be on the team by the end of the year. But he's had a pretty good spring so far. Kluber's had a good spring. Cole's been okay. Montgomery's been all right. And Tyone's been pretty good as well. So the rotation's going to be good. The thing with the Yankees is, when you make it to the postseason, can you please hit? That's all we're asking. Be consistent. Okay? Listen, we love seeing the home runs. We love it. We think it's beautiful. It's a work of art. But when you get to the postseason, can you hit good pitching? Hit good pitching. Stop swinging at things that are in the dirt. Catch the ball. Play good behind the plate. We're looking at you, Gary Sanchez. All right? Please. And for God's sakes, stay healthy. Because we can't have the entire roster injured in the 3rd week of April. Please, just stay healthy. You guys are healthy, right? You keep talking about it. Judge keeps talking about it. He fixed the gap between his teeth. Now go out there, hit 30 home runs, and drive in 120 runs. Go out there and do it. All right, Stanton, don't go out there and play 9 games like you did in 2019. Don't go out there and hit 2 home runs in your first 2 games in 2020, and then you get hurt immediately. Come on. You know, you're what are you on? You like your 3rd year of your 13-year contract when we're paying you $1 gazillion? Come on. I'm not like some of these other Yankee fans who are like, yeah, get rid of him. I mean, I was one of those Yankee fans who was like, you know what? We shouldn't have gotten him. We have Judge. We don't need Stanton. And, you know, everybody's like, yeah, how many strikeouts are Judge and Stanton going to combine for? You know, they could combine for 300 strikeouts. But the thing is, they don't get to that point because they're always hurt. And I know I've said that numerous times. This is, if this is not the Yankees' year, when is it going to be? The pieces are in place. You got the lineup. You got the bullpen. I mean, I'm a little bit worried about the bullpen. But for the most part, the bullpen is good. I don't trust them, but they're good. The rotation looks as good as it's ever been. And that's not really saying that much because the Yankees really haven't had star-studded rotations over the past couple seasons. James Paxton didn't really work out. Jay Happ, don't even get me started on him. Lance Lynn, Jaime Garcia. Okay, you got Corey Kluber. He's not what he used to be, but you know what? He's going to be serviceable. Jameson Tyone is going to be serviceable. Domingo Herman is going to be a good number 5. Garrett Cole is your ace. Protect him. Luis Severino should be coming back in late May, early June, something like that. If he comes back and he's the Luis Severino that we all know and love in the entire year of 2017 and the first half of 2018, this rotation is going to be amazing. It is going to be amazing. But if guys can't stay healthy and the pitchers stink, this team's not going to do anything. So guys, go out there, win this division, hit in the playoffs, and go win a damn championship. Do it. It's been 12 years since we've seen a championship. Every year I keep saying it's, 2 years ago it's been 10. It's been 11. Now it's going to be 12. And, these Met fans say, well, at least you saw a championship. Okay, you got a fair point. We got what? What is it, 27 championships? Yankee fans say that. Well, how many have you been alive for? How many? How many have you been alive for? I've been alive for technically 2, which was the last one of the 2000s, the early 2000s, which was 2000 against the Mets. I don't count that because I was 6 months old at the time. Didn't know anything. Then 2009, which, yeah, I can remember. I remember my parents saying, go to bed, it's bedtime. When they are about to win, we'll bring you back down. We'll wake you up and bring you back downstairs to watch the 9th inning. I don't want to have to do that again. I don't have to do that again. You know why? Because 21 years old now, I can watch the whole game all the way through without a parent telling me, you got to go to bed. You got to go to bed, honey. You got school tomorrow. We'll wake you up. We'll wake you up when it's the 9th inning. No. And I'm gonna take a shot at my co-host here. All right, I am gonna be there for every pitch in the playoffs. I'm not gonna bail, even if I know my team is not gonna win. I'm not gonna go in the other room and not watch it. I am gonna watch every pitch. I don't care. Just please, guys. Please. It's been a long time. It's been a really long time. That's the thing. The Yankees. These are the Yankees. You're supposed to win championships. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay? There's no, we made it to the championship series. We made the playoff. No. Okay? You have the pieces in place. Go out there and win the championship. Okay? And everybody talks about the Dodgers. Okay? And the Dodgers are a really good team. They're the 2020 champions. They deserved it in that abridged season. But you know what? The Yankees are a good team too. And in 2019, they beat the Dodgers. They won 2 out of 3. They destroyed them in those games that they played against the Dodgers. And they could do it again. Now, Dodgers have a really good rotation. Dodgers' rotation can easily shut down the offense. And, what I'm saying is a load of garbage. But this has to be the year, guys. Come on. And don't be doing any antics in the playoffs. Don't be saying you're going to win the game the next day. Don't be playing New York as you're leaving the opposing team's ballpark. Just win the game and move on to tomorrow. Please. Let your game do the talking. All right? If you're listening, you better have taken in everything I said and apply it to the regular season and beyond that. So I have the Yankees winning the 2021 World Series. World Series. Go make me proud, boys. Go make me proud.
Wow. Kenny, what just went down there in the last 10 minutes, that was beautiful. You know what? Upson Unleashed, forget all the stuff I was going off about. You know what? That might just be one of your best segments ever on this show. It might be the best ever. I'm not even kidding, man. That was some high quality stuff.
It came from the heart, man. Came from the heart.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it for sure. Yeah, let's just go here a little more rapid fire. Kenny hit, I think, on most of these points with the divisions, but starting off in the American League in the East, the Yankees control their own destiny in this division. They really do. The Rays have lost Blake Snell, which is going to hurt their pitching rotation some. And they don't have the same oomph, I think, as they did somehow getting to the World Series this past year with the 28th payroll in the league. But I have them over the Blue Jays, the Yankees. I think the Blue Jays will be that second-place team this year in the East. They're a good young team, and now they get George Springer with a lot of money. And I'll be interested to see what Toronto can do, but this is the Yankees division by multiple games. I think we're talking 4 or 5 games by the time all is said and done. In the Central, 76-year-old Tony La Russa is back in the league, or 77, however old he is. I'll check my research. But after winning the championship with the St. Louis Cardinals back in 2011, look, I think he's going to get a good team to work with in his second stint as a manager. And obviously, you know, some people were raising their eyebrows about him being hired. And I certainly thought the same way. You know, why would Chicago go after a 76-year-old manager? But Tony's got the baseball experience. There are some really nice pieces on this White Sox team. Lucas Giolito's in the running for Cy Young in the American League. The AL Central has always proved to be a good division. And same with the NL. But really, this is a two-man race this year between the Twins and the White Sox. And I'm going to take the Chicago White Sox to win the Central. And call me crazy, I think this team might be capable of at least 90, maybe even close to 95 wins. We'll see where things end up, though, when all is said and done. In the West, hate to take those Houston Astros over the Oakland A's in a very tight AL West race that might come down to the last weekend of play. I hate doing it, but yeah, the Astros out of the AL West. In the National League, there is a team on the other side of New York that's getting a lot of attention with Steve Cohen trying to break the bank open. Got to pay Francisco Lindor that money. 12 years, $400 million. This is going to be fun to watch the New York Mets this year. This is going to be a good baseball team. This is a playoff baseball team. This is a baseball team that can get 90 wins, I think. What do you got, Mets? What do you got? I'm going to take them to win the East over the Braves. Again, another tight race that'll come down to the end. As our good friend Justin Blicht says all the time about his team, is this some FH with everything that's going on? Well, that remains to be seen. But I'm thinking that the Mets might finally have their year, win the East. And, you know, some of the experts out there are picking Luis Rojas to be manager of the year. You never know. You never know. Year one of Steve Cohen begins on Thursday. In the Central, as Kenny mentioned, this is always a really tight race. I don't know why I was trying to say something else there. Look, with the addition of Nolan Arenado to this St. Louis Cardinals team, between him and Paul Goldschmidt, two big offensive bats for the St. Louis Cardinals. And I think they get this division over the Milwaukee Brewers. And in the West, you know, I would love to pick the Padres as a dark horse, but look, the Los Angeles Dodgers, as Kenny said, they could very well hit that over 103.5. That's how good this team is. But these pitching rotations are going to be crazy this year on both teams. Can't wait to see these two face off between Trevor Bauer, Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw, David Price, and Julio Urias on one side for the Dodgers. On the other side, for the Padres, Yu Darvish, Blake Snell, Dinelson Lamet, Joe Musgrove, and Chris Paddock. Those matchups will be must-watch television, especially later in the season. The Padres, I'm not ruling them out to get to the NLCS, but they're not going to win. They're not going to win in the championship series against the Dodgers. If it came down to that, it'll be the Dodgers League and the Dodgers division too. There's a reason why Vegas is telling us they're minus 280. That's how good this team is. They are a 100-win team season this year, I believe. Between them, I'd say the Yankees and maybe the Astros or A's, whoever comes out of the West. Like I said, I like the Astros. I think those three teams maybe could be the only teams in the league this year capable of 100 wins. Or maybe the Cardinals, too, actually. I'll throw the Cardinals in that mix, too. So who's coming out with the pennants? It's got to be the Yankees and the Dodgers. It's got to be. Look at these two teams. Really, from top to bottom. And like Kenny has said, what's going to come down to with the New York Yankees is health. Health, health, health.
And hitting in the postseason.
Yes. That is a problem that the Yankees have had for way too long. And you might be wondering who the World Series pick is going to be. Can't believe I'm about to say what I'm about to say on this air. I really hate that what I'm about to do right now is go against my own team. But in a 7-game series, I'm too worried. I'm too worried about this Los Angeles Dodgers team. And I think that rotation might be the Yankees' kryptonite if it comes down to this. That Dodgers rotation is so good. This offense is so good. And I'm not saying that the Yankees can't win in a 7-game series. They absolutely can. This should be a 7-game series if they meet.
It should be.
It should be. It should be. But I'm sorry. I have to. Just the way this Dodgers team looks. You ready? It's on the tape right now. I am picking the Los Angeles Dodgers to repeat as World Series champions in 2021 in 7 games over the New York Yankees. There, I said it. I said it. I hate that I just said that. I hate it, but that's the pick. That's the pick.
You know, I would have been more. I would have been upset. I actually would have been upset if you didn't say it off the air before the show tonight. So I knew what you were going to say going into that. I was hoping that my little soliloquy, my little rant that I had would maybe have you come back and pick the Yankees, but I guess not.
I hope they prove me wrong, man. Like I said, I hate saying it, but you know what? In some ways, my mentality is I'm bad at picks. Maybe they'll prove me wrong.
Yeah, but I'm also bad at picks.
Wait,
too.
what did I say? Let's check USC Gonzaga quick. I said USC plus 8.5. How much are they down now? Oh, goodness. It's probably way too much. Okay, down 22. Yeah, see? See what happens when I touch picks. This is what happens when I touch picks.
Well, I mean, you also got to look at when you pick your team, you pick the score of a game. You pick a score of a game, you think that's going to be the score, and then you go ahead and you pick in the spreads.
Yeah.
Something that goes against that. I'm referring to a game earlier in the NFL season. You picked Giants to beat Washington 20-19, but you still picked the Giants to cover the 3.5 point
that was
spread.
a bad idea.
And actually, speaking And also, let's not forget when you said they should start Colt McCoy
No.
they had to start Colt McCoy if Daniel Jones doesn't pan out. Speaking of Colt McCoy, the Cardinals signed Colt McCoy. So I wanted to throw that in there while you were... So that's some breaking news. Colt McCoy to the Cardinals. Yeah, so those are our predictions for the Major League Baseball season.
Last thing, since I'm so, I feel like I just put a knife in my own heart by saying the Dodgers are going to beat the Yankees in the World Series. But for MVPs, Trout and Tatis, they got to be the picks. Soto's definitely up there.
It was
I
funny.
would put him in the running.
Yeah, it was funny. I texted in my friends group chat. I said I got Soto and Trout. I'm trying to be a little more unique, and my friend said Soto is actually the favorite to win the MVP on a betting website. So, great. Cool. Try to be unique. Guess I'm not. So, whatever, I guess. Yeah. It's gonna look. It's good that baseball will be back. Games will actually matter. The Yankees open up the season against the Blue Jays. It'll be Garrett Cole against Hyun-Jin Ryu in the Bronx on Thursday. I will be in class literally the entire time, but thankfully, just this once, it's good that class is remote, so I'll be able to watch the game while I'm in class. So, unfortunately for my professors, if you think I'm paying attention in class, not really paying attention. I'm paying attention to something that, for that time, is maybe going to be a little more important, which is opening day on Thursday. It's going to be great. But the thing that gets me annoyed is, they come back opening day, Thursday, and then guess what happens? You give the Yankees and a lot of other teams an off day, and then they'll be back playing on Saturday and Sunday. 3-game set with the Toronto Blue Jays. Let's hope that the Yankees get it done this season, and let's hope for all the Met fans out there that the Mets actually live up to their expectations and they don't have any setbacks. And they prove to be a good team this year. Now, here's the thing. If the Yankees and the Mets met in the World Series this year, well, I'd be panicking the whole time. That would be something very scary, especially because, back in the day when the Yankees played the Mets in 2013, I learned how to be more humble. When in the first inning, Brett Gardner hits a grand slam, and I, posted on Instagram, I'm yelling, "Gardy goes Yardy," and celebrating, and I'm rubbing it in Met fans' faces, and the Yankees ended up losing that game. And that kind of taught me to never be to be more humble, like I said, and not to brag and do all those things because you don't like it when it's done to you. So, opening day is just around the corner. We got the national championship coming up, the Final Four coming up in men's basketball.
And it's looking like Gonzaga will join the party as team number 3.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any surprise there. The NHL season, the NBA season continue, and they are winding down as well with the playoffs coming up in a month or so. The NFL draft is coming up. Got a lot of stuff to be excited about as a sports fan. And like I said, it's going to be good to have baseball back and a full season.
And, as Kenny just alluded to, yes, opening day is on Thursday. We can't wait, baseball fans around the world. And Thursday, of course, not for us here in the local markets, but across the country, we got a quadruple header on ESPN. First up at 1 o'clock, Blue Jays, Yankees. Followed by the Dodgers at the Rockies at 4. The Mets at the Nationals at 7 o'clock. And then the A's and the Astros from Oakland at 10 o'clock. That's on ESPN. And, of course, the game of the day returns every day on ESPN Plus. Braves and the Phillies at 3 o'clock on opening day.
Yep. And we could not be more excited for that. So with that, that is all the time that we have for tonight. Thank you for listening. If you stayed with us for the full 2 hours, we will be back next week, same time, same place. Enjoy your Easter weekend. And if you do, in fact, celebrate it, and hope you enjoyed the Passover for the people that celebrated that. So with that, that's all the time we got. I'm Kenneth Gruenfelder, along with Ben Upson, signing off from Infinite Sports Radio. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time.
And play ball!